This is Christoph Yalik.
This is Just Janet.
And this is K. Collie.
And this is
the Just Nuggets Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Just Nuggets Podcast. My name is K. Collie. JJ's, how you doing today?
I'm good. This is Just Janet. I'm doing well.
Christoph Yalich, how you living?
What up, man? What up? I mean, I feel like most Nuggets fans right now, you got a little bit of hope and kind of without you're at a loss for words a little bit, but at the end of the day, you're a Denver Nuggets fan. You're the reigning NBA champion until somebody knocks you off. And that's what it is.
Where'd you get the hope from?
Where did I get the hope from?
Yeah.
The 2020 bubble when we came back from 3-1, not once but twice.
That's good.
Yeah, I just seen this team do so many things. Like I had the fork in them. I just don't quit on this team. That's the thing about me. I've quit on Calvin Booth, but other than that, I have not quit on this team. And as long as they don't quit on themselves, I think we'll be fine. And we can get into the itinerary of this episode, but I think the Nuggets will be. I think when I say I think, I give them a 60% chance.
Now we want you to know that today is.
I was gonna say before we get into the Nuggets blues, I want to give a Nuggets up and say Nikola Jokic just won his third MVP of the NBA.
MV3.
He's the MV3.
Three of them.
Three of them.
Not one.
Uno, dos, three of them.
Not
three of
two.
them. So
not one. Not two.
A pod clap for Jokic. Well deserved. Obviously, Nuggets fans, we believe that he should have won it.
Oh yeah.
I don't care what Shaq.
79
I don't care what Shaq got to say. I don't care what Stephen A. got to say. I don't care about anybody that's in the national media. They're gonna have to live with Jokic.
I will have to say this though.
People on ESPN.
But three
ESPN.
of them.
I will have to say this. Nuggets Nation, Nikola fans, enjoy this one because this is probably his last one. So really soak this one in.
No.
Let the haters hate. Let the haters hate. Let the people say it should have been SGA. Well, screw them. It wasn't.
They said that.
I know. It should have been. It should have been. It should have been. It doesn't matter. It wasn't. It's Nikola Jokic. Drink this one in. Have a toast of your champagne to this man because he's a living deity in real time. And we'll get into the playoffs of what he needs to do to continue this wonderful season. But for a regular season award, he deserved every bit of this accolade. So congrats to him.
I think they're prisoners of the moment because the Nuggets are down 0-2. If you flip the series and you see the Nuggets up 2-0, I bet no one's out here saying, "Oh, Jokic shouldn't have won it."
And that's the sadness of it.
It's clearly a different. It's a difference in two games. Is the reason why people.
Can you hold two thoughts in your head at the same time? This is a regular season. Last year, you were preaching to us how it was a regular season when that other person won it. This is a regular season award, and that's what it was. And he was better, blah, blah, blah. So now that we are down 2-0 to Minnesota, okay, in the second round of the playoffs, you got to hold that against Joker. We are not going to do that.
And side note, I want to say from this podcast, we've done an exceptional job not talking about MVP. I don't think we mentioned MVP on
a
this
couple of times, but nothing.
Outside of just saying Jokic is the MVP.
Yeah, right.
But I don't think we've ever were on the case of talking about narrative. We obviously I guess we've been kind of harsh on the Thunder, but I think we've always gave SGA his love. I don't ever think there was anything about SGA.
Well,
I don't know if we believed in the Thunder. No. And to be honest, if the Nuggets is playing the Thunder, I'd be feeling a lot better. But for what it's worth.
You know why? We saw the Nuggets play the games with the Nuggets. With the OKC Timberwolves, because they're in our division.
Both of them are.
Okay, both of them are in our division. And when they played OKC, Jamal wasn't in one of those games. I'm just going to tell you that.
We played. They're in our bubble group, so we played them 4 times.
Yeah.
With them almost in the
early,
or at least 3 times
early, and then one of the ones for at least one of Jamal was not there, and. And I hate when people say they're the best in the West. They're the number 1 seed. They are the number 1 seed in the West, but we have the same darn record. So they talk about this best guy on the best team. That would be Joker as well. And a tiebreaker caused them to be the number 1 seed. So
Yeah,
I just,
and losses in like November. You know what I
it's
mean?
disingenuous not to tell the truth.
No,
Kristoff,
Shea had a phenomenal, before you go into a dot, Shea had a phenomenal season and deserves all the love he gets.
He got
Every single bit of
15
it.
votes on the MP, and Joker got 79.
Let's not do that. I'm just giving him his flowers. He had an excellent season.
They
He's an
gave it to him all
excellent
day.
player.
You have to give him any more.
He's having a phenomenal postseason as well. But here's the thing. What Nikola Jokic did this season was historic. What he did the season before that was historic. What he did the season before that was historic. What he did the season before that was historic. We're living in an era where this dude is putting up numbers unseen with efficiency unseen to any human in the history of the game of basketball. So, and if you took him off that team, it would go nowhere fast. And you can say the same for Shea. I know there's people yelling at me, yelling at the pod right now. You could absolutely say the same for Shea.
but Kristoff,
No,
However, Nikola Jokic is just he from the jump of the regular season, he was the front runner because they should have given it to him last year. That was the biggest thing.
well, that's half the reason he was going
And-
to get this year once Embiid went down for sure too.
And when Embiid went down, Shea had to do something phenomenal to make up ground. And my thing is this, to your point, Jays,
Without being on TV.
without being on TV yet. And to your points, Jays, people they forget. Even some of the local Denver media was acting like, yeah, the Nuggets are the 2 seed, and they didn't get the 1 seed because I don't know, we were like 3 games behind the 1 seed. We were literally the same record. It was a tiebreaker that was the difference. So if you're gonna say that, well, SGA led his team to the best record in the West, well, so did Nikola Jokic. So it's you're splitting hairs, but at the end of the day, Nikola Jokic, when you look at the advanced metrics, when you look at just pure historic greatness, it's unprecedented.
Can I make a point?
Enjoy it,
look
Nuggets
at
Nation.
advanced records.
I said
That's
we don't
my
even
point.
talk
You don't
about
even
no
look at no
advanced
advanced
stats.
records. You just look at the stats that everybody looks at: points, assists, rebounds,
Steals.
steals.
Top 10 in
That's
all
it.
of them.
You don't even need to go any further. So that's what's troubling.
26 plus assists. I mean, triple doubles.
That's what's troubling. They do know. So, anyways, my beef is they want us to accept the fact that ESPN staff, and I mean, most of them voted for Shea for whatever reasons.
This is a group of 15, by the way.
It's a group of 15.
Not
and
a whole bunch.
And they
This is
had the
15 of them.
airways. They had the airways all day long. So all you heard was Joker won, but I voted for Shea.
Control
what?
narrative. Control
So
narrative.
what?
Kristoff, I want to ask you this question.
What's
Tell
up?
me a year since, I'm thinking all the way back to Curry, but maybe there was another year where it was more unanimous. But I feel like every time in the MVP, you always could have went with someone else. Jokic wins this year. Oh, you could have went with SGA. Embiid wins last year. Oh, you could have went with Jokic. Jokic wins the year before. Oh, you could have went with Embiid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
no
go
doubt.
That year before, you
Chris
coulda went with
Paul.
Embiid. And then
Or
when
Chris
when
Paul.
Giannis won, when Jokic won his first one, oh, you could have went with Giannis.
Or
'Cause
Chris
Giannis
Paul.
Actually, Giannis was the guy that really got screwed over. Well, I say screwed over because Jokic deserved it. But I'm saying Giannis was the first one of new voter fatigue. Like Giannis has been great since his MVPs. He's had probably better seasons than some of his MVPs. Hasn't even been close to winning MVP. You know what I mean? He's been third place every single time. So eventually, to your point, Kristoff, I do think this is Jokic's last one because I think the NBA is sick and tired of giving Jokic the MVP.
And that's so crazy. Okay.
Because we were saying the same thing.
No, I would stop it. It
LeBron won
happens.
4.
LeBron won 4, and he could easily have had 6.
Like I'm getting tired of Braun winning them. It's the MVP is literally when I get tired of voting for you for MVP, we're gonna pass it to the next person.
Yeah.
That's how MVP
Straight
works.
up.
All I'm saying is when you get it, at least give you 3 minutes on the air and praise you.
Wait, what'd you think about Shaq, Chris?
But
About
my thing is this, Jays. They've praised him 3 out of the last 4 years, so they want somebody fresh, they want something new, and screw them, the voters who vote and got those 79 first place votes for Nikola Jokic, they saw what they saw,
You watched
and
the Shaq
they
thing?
voted the way they did. I know I saw what Shaq said, but Shaq don't have a vote. And you saw what Nikola said.
He
Nikola
voted.
said, huh?
Well, Shaq has a vote.
Okay, whatever. So
He didn't
his
have a
vote
vote. Then what was
was
all of that
incorrect.
about?
Well, then what did
I know
Nikola say to
you
his
told
face?
me that.
Nikola said, "You have your opinion. Have it." You know what I mean?
He said the words "I voted for." So you can't tell me he didn't have a vote. He had a vote.
Shaq also has a
So-
21-year-old
the
girlfriend, so like
theory-
he makes
What was your
decisions
theory
that are not my,
Shaq's theory is
what I would have done. So whatever.
My theory about Shaq is Nicola's getting too close to Shaq's numbers, and that he now has 3 MVPs when Shaq has 1. Now Shaq has 4 rings, but Joker has an MVP. He has a championship and an MVP of the finals.
Shaq also had Kobe Bryant.
He's accumulating a lot of.
Shaq also had Phil Jackson. Shaq had Robert Ory. Shaq had Rick Fox. You know what I mean? Shaq had the refs, because if you look at the 2002 when they went back to back, or no, it would have been their three-peat year. But that 2002 series, Tim Donaghy went to prison on his actions, and then David Stern said, "I wish it could be the Lakers versus the Lakers in the finals." So Shaq had a lot of momentum behind him. Obviously, he was the most dominant big man in the history of sports. I'm not taking that away from him. But when he says these things, I just gotta give historical context. And since we just made historical context, is that Nicola's in that room with 3 of them. So let's get back to game 3,
No,
because
I one last thing. I assure you that we spent more time on this than the whole day that they mentioned his name that I watched. I watched a lot of shows.
But that's why you have this tonality, Jace. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter the flowers they give them. In 25 years from now, no one's going to remember SGA was number 2. They will always remember that it was a 3rd MVP in 4 years for Nikola Jokic. And that's what matters. And that's why I say, Nuggets Nation, stand up and enjoy this one, because it might be the last one.
Are you saying 1 is the loneliest number?
He's the MVP. Like it or not, I don't care who you voted for. He's the MVP.
Just to put in perspective, Jokic now, he of all the big men that have 3, and tell me, I'm just saying, call it what it is. Tell me Jokic don't deserve to be in this group. He's in there with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's up there with Bill Russell. He's there with Wilt Chamberlain. If you ask me, Jokic has stats there with Wilt Chamberlain. He's never going to be as great. I don't think he'll ever be as a scorer the way Kareem is. But if he was on the court with Kareem, Jokic is still going to be able to get his buckets. He's still going to be able to score. And then Russell, Jokic would have been able to play with Russell too. I think he's in a great company. I think it just thinks you're looking at their careers as completed. Jokic isn't even done. If Jokic gets another 2 or 3 MVP championships,
not even done.
Then you sit there and go like, yeah, Jokic's right there with them.
And Joker plays a different style of basketball. He is a center, yes, but he's a point center. He brings the ball up. He distributes. He gets all of it. He's just different.
He changed the game.
Wilt down the stretch played by how Jokic was when it comes to the assists, because Wilt started passing that ball like mud.
And let's put it like this. And once more, for the listeners and to you two, I am not slandering this man's name when I say this sentence that I'm about to say. I think he's not even excellent. I think he's a phenomenal basketball player, SGA. But we've seen wings, off guards or point guards play like his style. Straight up, we have. I don't want to start putting a list because it sounds like I'm putting him in a hierarchy. But you've seen people play like SGA. But his game is not groundbreaking to what you just said Nicola's is. Nikola is a once in a generation player, and we're living in his era.
No, yeah.
So enjoy it or hate it. It doesn't matter because it is happening.
If you're an alien that came and watched basketball for the first time, and you watched all these highlights, Jokic would still look very unique. You'd look at Jokic and be like, what's that guy doing? Like, how's he doing what he's able to do?
I'm just glad he's a Denver Nugget. I'm just glad we got the opportunity to see him many years. I just think he's phenomenal. I think he should keep at it, and I love his humble nature. I know people like to be in the front row, beyond the front of the front, and Joker is just the humblest person, and I'm telling you what, that will get him a long way in life.
Yeah.
Here. Before we move on, word of the wise to SGA: do what you just did this season, next season, you'll get an MVP.
Nope.
That's what
That's not how
Joel
it works.
Embiid did. So
That's not how it works. Embiid did it 3 times before he got MVP. Jokic did it a few times. You never know when you're gonna get MVP. Is one of those. You just gotta be great. You just gotta
that's what
be
I'm
great.
saying. So go out there and be great again. You'll get MVP. But you got to deal with Luka. You're dealing with him in live time right now.
You gotta
But
deal
you got to
with
deal with Luka.
When Wemby start getting them, the whole NBA in trouble because he gonna rack them up.
Oh, no doubt.
Wemby gonna rack those MVPs up like a mug. But yeah, let's go to game 2. Not so much the game itself because in a lot of ways it felt like the Nuggets. The refs took over that game for the Nuggets, and the Nuggets didn't do a good job of filtering out the refs' influence. So to me, watching the game, as bad as the refs were, I didn't enjoy how the Nuggets let the refs get to them. Because if you've played basketball throughout your life, a lot of times refs will get into a game and ruin it. When you see a team that gets flustered by the refs, they never win. Like as soon as you're on the court and you start getting into it with the refs, you always lose. And in that sense, I know you can always blame the refs, but I think the Nuggets didn't do a good job of weathering that ref storm.
Oh, call it what it is. The Nuggets unraveled. That's all it was. They got punched in the mouth game 1. And
Not
they
really.
didn't. Yes, they
came
did.
down to the last 4 or 5 minutes.
All right, whatever. We're gonna see this different ways.
Yes, we will.
If we're gonna do this, I always saw this months coming before. I knew Minnesota could beat the Nuggets.
Did you call
and
it on the podcast?
I call this on the podcast, and I also called the Nuggets going down 0-2 on the podcast. So, Jays, let me say my point. The Nuggets got punched in the mouth, and then they got punked. They came out with low energy, and the refs made a few bad calls early, and they unraveled. They didn't have the championship gall, and they got punked straight up. They got punked. They let the refs get in their head, and they were frustrated, and they couldn't do anything. So that game is a wash to me. You guys can keep talking about it, but that game is a wash to me, unless this is a sign of bigger things. But the way they played close to them down the stretch in game 1, I think that's the true Denver Nuggets. Whatever happened in game 2, they were in their head, and if you're in your head, you're dead.
I know Jay's about to come in with foam at the mouth. I would just say the Nuggets, it just wasn't a good game. From A to Z, they played a good first quarter, and then from there, Mike Malone yells at the ref. Usually 9 times out of 10, you get thrown out. He didn't get thrown out. Honestly, kind of wish he did get thrown out because I think it would have helped the team galvanize a little bit. But he stayed in the game, and then from there, Jamal got in trouble, throwing towels, throwing things on the court. So, Jays, I know you want to go in and have your fun. Go ahead. What do you guys say?
I'm going to go backwards. I have watched since that game, because that game was on Monday. This is Thursday. So I've had several days of other people's playoffs. Okay. I think the closest one that was called like ours, sorta, but ours was worse, was the Indiana Knicks game when the refs got all up in that game, all kinds of ways and whatever. And we know the reason. They want the Knicks and Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. But that's neither here nor there. That's just my opinion. Okay. Number 1, they had no space on that floor. None. I don't care. They have this swarming defense. It swarms all right, but it also fouls. Okay. They called none of them. None of them. Mike Malone got mad. I agree with you, Dot, that he wanted to come out, make a statement, get thrown out. So maybe that changes things. Whatever that would have done. Maybe that slowed down the refs from doing what they're doing. And maybe that helped this team get going because they're mad now because their coach got kicked out. That didn't happen. So then Murray, he's hurting. He don't want to talk about his calf, but he's hurting in his calf. He's not getting the space. He's not trying to get any space because they're in his face. What they needed to do was change. They needed to adjust. They're picking up Murray full court. They're picking him up 2 people. So if 2 people are picking up Murray full court, how many left back there? 3. So if it was Joker bringing it up or AG bringing it up, they could get the ball down court to the people down there. Hopefully, people could shoot and hit the baskets because MBJ is going to be down there. Murray would be down there. Okay, they needed to adjust. They did none of it, and that's why that game went south so fast because the refs were calling the game like you could just be a tractor trailer coming down the lane. If they were swarming you, they didn't call anything, and Nuggets didn't make any adjustments when they started that kind of pressure on them. Their defense is great. They're number 1 in the NBA coming into the playoffs. I get it, but they ain't that good.
No, and that's where I agree with you on that. That last point is the truth. I don't care how good of defense the Timberwolves play. I don't even care how bad the refs are. The Nuggets have to show the world or show themselves who they are. They have championship DNA. They got a coach that's won a championship. They got Jokic. We just talked about him for a bunch of minutes ahead earlier. He's the MVP. Not once, not twice, but thrice, right? Jamal Murray. We know what you are capable of in these big moments. Michael Porter, LeBron just wrote, I haven't seen LeBron write this nice of a letter out to somebody in a while. He's talking about how good Michael Porter was, and he's the one that beat us, and I can't believe how good of a player he's been after getting his back hurt and all that. We are the Nuggets. I don't care if we get beat by the Timberwolves when we play our best game and it just wasn't enough. Then guess what? Chops up. Timberwolves are a better team. But right now, the Nuggets haven't even shown who they are. So in this next game, that's my only ask. Play a great game, Nuggets. Go out there and see what you can do because I know that your best is better than the Timberwolves. Your mid is better than the Timberwolves, but your best is better than the Timberwolves.
No doubt. I think for game 3, because I'm done with game 2, that needs to just be put into an incendiary, set on fire, and let the ashes just fall out of it. And as we move out throughout the rest of the series, and if God willing, inshallah, and beyond, the Nuggets need to rise out of that ash like a phoenix. And what I mean by that is the Nuggets, they literally have been skating. And if we're being honest with ourselves, us 3 on this pod, and the Nuggets fans that are listening, the Nuggets have been skating on a C game, just a C average. One of my mottos in college was C's get degrees. C's did get degrees, and they beat the Lakers, but you had to have A's and B's to be Phi Beta Kappa. And right now, this is the Phi Beta Kappa test. And
championships, I'll tell you that.
C's, I mean, there is a C in championship, but you got to have A and B game, A plus game to get it. So, and to get to that next round, you have to have A games, A plus, A minus games throughout the next 5 games without fail. Because if you don't, Minnesota has proven that they're A plus defensively. Anthony Edwards is an absolute deity. Already he's 22, but this man is gonna be.
I thought you said Joker was deity.
I subscribe to the polytheism here. There's a bunch of basketball gods.
No,
and Anthony Edwards is, if he's not a god, he's an angel for sure. He's ascending for sure. And I don't think he's ascending. I think he has arrived. But Anthony Edwards, Cat played excellently. They have great size with Naz Reid. Gobert, congrats on having a child. All of them, they are excellent. Conley wants a championship. They're well coached. Chris Finch, all of them. You have to deal with that effort. And if you don't come out and play good Nuggets basketball, like we saw in March, February, that type of basketball, late February, not early February, late February, you will not win. You will not win. You just won't win. And you might not even win a game if you don't put that effort in. If you think that you could come out with the low energy that you had in game 1 and 2 and the 5 versus the Lakers, you're gonna get swept straight up. So I'm just looking. I was doing it in the Lakers series too. When is the Denver Nuggets that I know and love going to show up? Is it now? I'm praying it's going to happen after they just got absolutely embarrassed and everybody's talking about you like you have a tail and you have a tail between your legs. They're coming at Jamal Murray. They're coming at Mike Malone. They're saying the MVP is not the MVP. When are you guys going to wake up? When are you going to do it? You guys are the reigning champions. Go out there and play your game. That's all it is. And to K-Dot's point, if you lose playing your game, I can't be upset about that. It's when you get smoked at home 2 games in a row and on the verge of being swept, not playing your game is when I just question everything. And they already won a championship, so I'm not questioning everything, but it would just be like, that'd be a tough way to go out.
I would say the only thing, I know Jay's is foaming at the mouth because she doesn't like how we're giving Anthony Edwards his credit. But if you listen to this podcast, go listen to it last year when we beat the Timberwolves. We said they were coming. Then throughout the year, we said that we were coming. And then, Christoph, I know you try to take a lot of credit saying that they would do what they're going to do against the Nuggets. But also, I did talk about it on multiple podcasts, the Olympic effect. I said the Olympic effect that Anthony Edwards got going over there and seeing, hey, I'm better than all these dudes. It motivated him. There's something unique about going to the Olympics and coming back, or Team USA coming back. Halliburton took a jump. Anthony Edwards took a jump. It happens. And we knew it was coming. We saw the writing on the wall. My thing is this. The Nuggets just haven't played good enough basketball to compete with these guys. And right now, only thing that can galvanize them is that Jamal maybe is getting fed up with the media, which we can go into a little bit too. And again, Jokic might be getting motivated because he just got his MVP, but he's still getting disrespected. That's really what we're relying on. And then we need someone from the bench to act like they can play 7, 10, 12, 13 minutes of solid basketball. Because, again, Reggie Jackson has struggled throughout the playoffs. He's had moments of being all right, but hasn't really done too much. Peyton Watson has shown his youth, just like not saying he's bad, but we already this podcast from day one. It's so bad. This podcast we're talking about the bench in the summer league. If you go listen to our summer league episode, we said the only way this Nuggets is going to be better is if we get somebody in the middle of the season. So you can go listen to this podcast from throughout. We talked about that. But the bench has to find a way to give useful minutes, even if you got to go get Najee off the bench. We already said that.
I don't think that's happening. We've talked about that ad nauseum. It hasn't happened, so I'm just gonna neglect that's gonna happen.
But then who do you bring? Like who do you bring?
I think that Michael Malone's smarter than I am. I really do. I think his coaching staff is smarter than I am. And I think they need to start with what I told you. They need to start with what they're doing to us to slow us down.
KCP needs to bring the ball up. So
No.
So Jamal doesn't get
somebody big. Joker or AG.
Bring the ball up.
Yes. And the reason is because they got those little quick guards that's just going to smother anybody smaller of their size. Okay. Mm-hmm. So somebody bigger has to bring the ball down. That's number one. Number two, they need to get some space for Jamal to get at least a 2-man game going. And how you get that is if you always, when you get the ball, you dribble it, that ain't working. You got to know where to go and you got to shoot it. And then they'll realize that every time you get the ball, you're going to shoot it and somebody needs to be under the basket. Then they will stop trying to trap you because then now they got to go down defend them.
They're leaving AG wide open. That's really what their whole plan is. Like, let AG, as long as he's not underneath the rim, leave him wide open.
So if we know all that, why don't they know all that? So they just need to make some adjustments.
I'd say this, Michael Porter, you got to shoot when you get the ball right in your hand because he's had decent looks throughout this series.
And MPJ.
I said Michael Porter.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought you meant AG.
When he pump fakes, and then they have long wing defenders. You got to shoot that shot first.
Yes. So there's another one. That's my point. Same with on the guards, what you got to do, you can't dribble. You got to, instead of stepping into the defense, you got to step out of the defense. Number one. Number two, with MPJ, you can't do what you said. You can't do what you normally do. You got to do something different. And then once you start letting that defense realize what you're going to do different, and they studied us. They played us so much. They've looked at our tapes. They got to fix it. That's all. And I'm saying, you say you got to play our basketball, but you also have to do a little bit more than play the way we want to play because they've already got that nailed. They really just do. Because they played it. They knew they were going to play us a minute ago. The GM knew it. The coaches knew it. Finch and his assistant worked at Denver. They were on our coaching staff. The GM, Tim Conley, was at all this is a Denver redo over here.
They're the antithesis of the Nuggets.
The well, I don't. There are.
Well,
They are.
it's
Denver,
obviously you're going to show if they're able to beat the Nuggets, which they're well on their way to doing. They will win a championship because Boston is fraudulent. We'll get into that, not Nuggets, but Boston's fraudulent. I'm just going into your antithesis thing. It's just showing you that you can build it this way, and if you build it to counteract this way, you're going to get to the same result, and it's both a championship. But here's the other point:
the Suns, they lost to the Bucks, bro.
yeah, but see, I don't think you know.
We said the same thing about the Suns when we lost to the Suns and they went to championship.
All we know is they can beat us if they.
I didn't think the Suns were going to win. Actually, I was rooting against them the whole time.
You didn't think the Suns were going to win
when they beat us in 4, I was rooting for whoever was playing the Suns. I was rooting for Milwaukee heavy that series. I did not want the Suns to win.
I'm just saying that
I didn't think the Suns were going to win. I didn't think they were that good. I just thought the Nuggets were injured. That's what I thought. I thought the Nuggets were injured. Let's put it like this, Kyle. I was so down bad. We're jumping back to 2021. I was so down bad. I was praying for Will Barton to come back. Yeah. When was I praying for Will Barton to be on the court? That's how down bad the Nuggets were that series.
They were bad.
The best thing that happened to the Nuggets that year was the first MVP from Nikola, and that they got out that first round when Dame Lillard was just stupid on fire. Well, that was it. I was cool with that. I rather them not get swept, but it happened.
Well, before we go on to the next segment, this is what I think. I think I'm gonna make my prediction. They're winning Game 3. They're gonna win Game 3. And if they win Game 3, they have a better shot at winning Game 4.
Well, the thing about that is, like, I do think that this week off helps the Nuggets. It's hard for me to pinpoint the Nuggets right now, is because they're not playing like the Nuggets I know.
That's why,
you know what I mean?
I'm even scared to predict what the Game 3 outcome is.
And
I'm basing it on how I see how the Nuggets are.
They're winning Game 3. Come on now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Let me give you another point why they're going to win Game 3. I believe now, y'all know Joker like I know Joker. Joker hates the limelight. He probably was sweating this MVP. I hate this. I know I may get it. I don't want to deal with this. It's over now. So now he can go back to being his jolly old self. Basketball. Jolly old self. I think that MVP had a little bit to do with Joker's. Remember how he was when Perk came up and told all that mess last year about him? He hated it. And after that was all over, they gave it to Embiid. He started playing his games.
Here's the thing.
I think he'll play.
Me right now, to go back to your original question when we opened the pod, Kyle, how are you feeling about this Nuggets right now? I'm trapped between the mindset of the Nuggets are about to get swept or we're about to win in 7. And
I'm actually right there.
I don't know which one it's going to be. And I truly don't know. Normally, for the last 5 years at least, I've had a good gauge on the Nuggets. This series, I have no gauge on the Nuggets. Because what I thought they would do is show up at some point, and they just haven't. So that's what makes me say they might get swept, because maybe they're just not going to show up. But I know the Nuggets. Can I finish my point really fast, Jace? But I know the Nuggets, and at some point they will wake up, but I just don't know when. And if it doesn't happen, then they're gone in 4. And if they do, they will win this series in 7. But I don't know. So we'll find out.
They're going to win because I told you why Joker's going to win. He got the MVP best off his shoulders. And let me tell you why they're going to win, because of Jamal. Because if he's been listening, I know Jamal's on social media and look at that stuff. He does it. If he saw what I saw today, he's furious.
Yeah, let's touch on that real quick.
He's furious.
The whole Jamal getting suspended. I know we've probably been jumping around it, but Jamal did get suspended $100K for throwing.
Fined, not suspended. Fine.
Yeah, I said suspended $100K. Yeah, my fault. Fined $100K for throwing a heat pack onto the basketball court during the game. No one got hurt. Nothing happened. I know a lot of people are ifing out there, so none of that happened. But yes, Jamal acted at ASS.
But it was also at the direction of a ref too.
Yeah,
in the direction of a ref.
Really wasn't smart. The smartest thing by Jamal. Like I said, he said, "I take responsibility. It is what it is. Let's move on." But the NBA world got so mad at him. I was like, what more do y'all? They wanted him to kiss the ring. That's basically what they wanted him to do.
My thing is, he ain't even an all-star. Like, why are you guys so pressed off somebody who ain't an
He
all-star?
be cooking him. He be cooking the NBA like he's the all-star. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. How about you guys make my man an all-star, then start talking about what he needs to
He
do?
did not show up for the press
Yeah,
conference.
media wants an apology. That's
They
why.
want an apology.
Yeah, shut up. But here's my thing. No one likes you, Nuggets. Nikola, they didn't want you to win the MVP. They're already writing your obituary. Jamal, they're saying you were acting like something that rhymes with obituary. They're tired of Coach Malone. KCP, Reggie's hurt, all this stuff. AG, they're saying you're getting shut down in the dunker spot. They figured out your dunker spot. What are you guys going to do about it? Are you guys going to get swept in 4? Or are you going to make this a freaking series? That's my question for you. I know you guys probably won't hear this before game tomorrow, but if there's a world in which you will, what are you guys going to do about it? Because this is the livelihood. I want to keep making podcasts because as soon as the Nuggets are done, I'm done. I don't care to talk about OKC versus Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals.
We going to Cancun.
Yeah, so I want to stay on parade. You know what I mean?
My money's on the fat boy.
I will
As
say
it always should be.
Rudy Gobert coming back, I feel that only helps the Nuggets. And I know that's dangerous when you say a defensive player coming back helps the Nuggets. But they were a lot more athletic in the game 2 than they were in game 1. So Rudy Gobert being on the court could be an advantage for us.
I don't know. I also think they might have the Colorado Rockies thing going. I mean, I don't know. I halfway believe what I'm about to say. Maybe they literally played on Monday. They don't have another game until Friday. Hopefully that cools them off a little bit. You know what I mean? They're a great team, so I don't think it's going to. But like, when are the Nuggets gonna come out with some energy?
Timberwolves have the Rockies thing going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, they're saying the Nuggets. I was saying, hold up, chill out.
Well, the Nuggets are on the mat right now. No. They've been saved by the 10 count.
Like last thing I guess it is, I'm not gonna kick Jamal why he's down. I'm not gonna be the media person that gets mad about that. Because again, if someone did get hurt, that's way different. But y'all can't just be out here saying the reason he should have got fined was because of if it got hurt. I don't know. It's like, of course, like I said, Jamal made a mistake. He definitely showed immaturity, but it is what it is. Like, let's move on.
Who has not been frustrated on a basketball court?
He didn't do he didn't do the Pat Bev throwing a basketball at a woman's head and then telling people to download his podcast where he ain't talking.
Or push Chris Paul on his back. My thing is, like I said, like they got punched in the mouth. They got punked. They got punked, and they let the refs get to them, and that's what it was. Right, but how mature are you? That's my question for the Nuggets. Are you about to get swept? Or are you going to come back and win in 7? Because the Nuggets I know and love will come back and win in 7.
All I'm going to say is if the Nuggets get swept, then they got to clean that bench up. Because that's all that means. That just literally shows proof that we need to just clean up that
bench.
If
the Nuggets win in 7 and win an NBA championship, they're going to have to clean that bench up.
When I say clean up the bench, it's like if we getting swept, that means our starters is playing 40 plus minutes and is getting tired.
This bench, whatever. Let's move on. I could talk about that all day.
Where do you want to start at? You want to start with Boston? Getting beat by the Cavs?
Embarrassed.
They got beat.
Or would you rather talk about Rick Carlisle getting mad that not lost on me? I meant to say this, but when Jay's brought up that point about the refs, Rick Carlisle is not lost on me. They had the same refs we had in game.
Same refs.
Not lost on me. When Rick Carlisle said I put up 78 complaints against the refs, about 50 of them probably came from last night. I'm just saying. But yeah, Boston loses to the Cavaliers. Part of me thinks it's nothing, but I think it's one of those.
Somebody said they played down to their competition,
and we won 4 straight.
They try to turn it back.
Probably just like we didn't come out tonight, but that's kind of my.
They also lost by like 27, almost 30 points. So
30.
It was going into halftime. They're tied, and then they just couldn't hit the 3 tonight. If you want to go look at the stats, they shot way too many threes and weren't hitting.
I say it happens.
And that's what scares me most about Boston, is they get 2-3 dependent. I think this is how the Nuggets will stop them if they get to it, and if Minnesota plays them, this is how they're going to stop them. Is if they get 2-3 dependent, And when they're off and they're not hitting, they don't have a changeup, switch sports references. If your fastball's not on, you got to have an off speed. You have to as a pitcher. Their off speed isn't that great. Orange's is real meaty. They're throwing chunk balls down the middle of the plate. And that's their issue. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why once more, I think the winner of the Western Conference probably wins the NBA championship, in my opinion.
It depends on who it is.
Because I just don't believe in Boston. And I believe in them enough because I think because they're the only one. They got the tall, sorry if this is offensive to anybody. They're the tallest short man. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like they're the one in the East that we have to. It's not like we got these behemoths. It's not like we have a full strength Philadelphia or full strength Milwaukee to choose from. We have Boston, and we don't even have a full strength Knicks.
No.
If they had Julius Randle, Julius Randle, I'd be, yeah, and he has to score 40 every night for them to stay in it. You know what I mean? See? So, and then you got Indiana, who's I think is on their way, but I don't think they're there yet. And then Cleveland. This is the peak of Cleveland because I just don't believe in them long term. But like I think the best 4 teams in the NBA are all in the Western Conference. Even though the Nuggets are getting smacked around right now, I do think they're better than any of the 4 Eastern Conference teams.
Yeah, that's very fair. I'm not disagreeing with that. I think the Nuggets would match up against Boston well. I think at the end of the day, this team was always going to be the hardest team for the Nuggets, whether we played them now or if we played them in the conference.
And that was my point, actually. I'm sorry, I wanted to make this in just Nuggets, but this week's Nuggets is I think the Nuggets, if they lose this series to Minnesota, and I'm very tempted to put a win they lose this series against Minnesota, but I'm a Nuggets fan and I'm sinking with the ship. If they lose this series in Minnesota, you'll literally go back and look at that game in San Antonio. San Antonio is a 15-win team, 16-win team with nothing to play for. Literally nothing to play for but to ruin your evening. And if you put your foot on their throat, you would be the 1 seed. You would. And guess what? You're the 1 seed. OKC and Minnesota have to play in the second round, and they cannibalize each other. And you get the winner of the Clippers versus the Mavericks. And I'm sure the Nuggets would be either up 2-0 or fighting in game 2 to go up 2-0 right now against Mavericks or the Clippers. And you lost. You blew that game. And to me, that's where this unraveling that we're seeing started.
Yo, Chris, if was a 5th, we'd all be drunk, bro.
Yeah.
And don't you like Hennessy?
Hey, I'm more of a JMO guy myself, but
you have to go. I was
we
gonna
just gonna be iffing.
Thank you. I was gonna say, Doc, you gotta go back like a month.
Yeah, we gotta go back a month. No,
nothing
how
happened.
How about this? If the Nuggets showed up in game 1, it'd be 1-1. I mean, not 1-1. I mean, if they finished off game 1, they'd be 1-1.
No, I'm saying this all started. This unravel started when they lost at. Here's what I'm saying is when you got to take advantage. This is what I said to Calvin Booth, and I'll say it again. When you have the opportunity, you have to take advantage of it. And that's all I'm saying. The Nuggets had the opportunity. They didn't take advantage of it. Calvin Booth had the opportunity to go back-to-back. He didn't take advantage of it. And here's where we are in both cases. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And I don't know if this is a true quote, but I thought it was early in the season. Basically, Calvin Booth, his approach was, I'm not going to jeopardize our future for this year's
World Championship.
He's like,
I want Nuggets Nation to get on this one. I call this man green eggs and ham because how stupid and kiddie is that mindset?
I know, but he was basically saying we're going to have more money next year and the year after. So he's like, I'm not
all right, whatever. So we won't go back to back because we can win 3 and 4 years. I'm cool with that. If that's the mindset, sure.
Yeah, basically that's what he said. It doesn't sound good.
No, it does.
It did play out that way.
Yeah.
If we lose.
Can I go back to a point you made, Christoph, about Minnesota, Oklahoma? Whoever wins this game will win all, and Oklahoma, whatever. Here's what I'd say. That sounds reasonable because the Minnesota, if this happens, God forbid, they win and beat the Nuggets, and then they're the next team up to go to Oklahoma and they win there. I can see you saying it about Oklahoma, But I don't know if I could see you saying about Boston, because Boston has been in that playoff for years. And Minnesota, this is the first time they got through. This was the first time, I think, long time in their history that they won a sweep. They swept a team. So, you know, you can look it up, but this is like first for them. I don't know any teams that do first when you get to this level and win. It may be a first time.
OKC's doing it. They're up. Speaking of games,
They're playing Dallas.
OKC right now, as we're speaking, it's 99-95 with 9 minutes to go in the fourth. Dallas just scored, so now it's 101 for Dallas to 95. But they're in it. I mean, they're playing pretty good basketball.
I might be ahead of you because it's 104.95 on my end.
Ah, you are.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, that's good turnaround for Dallas. But so that's good. That's a series that could go 1-1 or it could go 2-0.
I want that to be a series. I really do. And I say that from a fan spectator standpoint because I thought OKC had a great game one. Dallas just let them get to their spots in game one. And we've been on this pod, so I've been unable to like sit here and watch game
They're
two.
not allowing them to get to their spots now.
And that's the adjustment.
SGA to get going, but he got going. I could tell you what his stats
And
are.
then we talk about Embiid shooting free throws. My God, SGA gets to the free throw line all the time. That man had 11 free throws in the first half of game one.
He's 26. They said he is a automatic 30 points, but half of them, or I'm not gonna say half, but a lot of them.
I was gonna say when you're shooting 16 to
Like
17 free throws a night, like you better be averaging 30.
That's how you get to That's how you get to
That's
that
how you
30,
get to a 30,
average 30.
average 30.
You get to that
But that's,
line.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna sound like Jay's. This is how you know she's my mother.
Yeah.
Why does Nikola never get this type of? He's
big.
down there in the. He's a
They
big.
think
He
he's
gets.
fat.
He gets.
He's the
He
size
gets.
of
You
that-
look at his
that-
arms. He gets scraped all the time. Like Nikola, no doubt, should be averaging 10 free throws a night, and this dude averages probably, I'm guessing, 6 to 8
Yeah.
tops.
Yes.
8
It's
tops.
not fair. It's not.
It's truly. It's Mom. Here's the thing I learned a long time ago. Even isn't fair, and fair isn't even. So I don't go off of fair and even. It's just it is what it is.
But it can happen.
But it just doesn't make sense that
Never
your
get
3-time MVP doesn't shoot more free throws than he does. Well into his third MVP run. That's the odd thing to me. When you have SGA shooting 17, 18 a night, you got Embiid shooting 35 free throws a night, being facetious, but like, come on. Like it's egregious at a point.
We see Embiid able to get the free throw line.
You know what this
Consistently.
whole since this Minnesota series started, it's Jays won't get this reference, Kyle, you will. It's that meme. You know that meme where they have where it's like the person's wearing the mask and like the front mask is like them smiling and underneath like they're all mad and crying. You know what I mean? That's how the media, the national media, has been with the Denver Nuggets since they won the NBA championship. It's like on their facial, like with the mask they're wearing, they have to smile like, oh, he's the best player on the planet. They're the best team in the best team in the planet. They're the reigning champions, right? But underneath, they hate the Denver Nuggets. They really do.
I was telling Jays, if you think about it, right? Last year when the Nuggets was winning, every series we was talking mess about the media. Oh, the media counted us out, woo, 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 right? Then we win the championship. Now we're at the Capitol or across the street from the Capitol talking all that mess about how the media doubted us and we gonna win, right? Then Jokic gets the MVP and we're talking our mess. So now the media has underneath that undergird, there's an undergird of the media really mad at the Nuggets. But they had to play like they liked us because we were the MVP. We had the MVP. We was winning championships. So now when the Nuggets is finally down 0-2, all those people that never really liked the Nuggets, kind of like what happened with Drake, all the people that didn't like Drake are now coming to say, hey, I don't like you. That's exactly
and they've been waiting on this downfall. That, you know what they are? They're the people that said that was the closest sweep I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
That's what they
are.
are.
All the people that wanted the Nuggets to lose finally get this. They're getting smiley. I got Lakers fans hitting me up. I'm like, bro, did we not sweep y'all? Bro, we
Yeah.
won. We won
Or
eight of nine against
eight of
y'all
9
in the
against you guys.
playoffs.
So relax.
The last 10 games we played against you in the playoffs, we've won what, I guess last 9, we've won 8 of them. So I don't even want to hear nothing from a Lakers fan, but they
No.
hit my line talking the mess because we down 2-0 against the Timberwolves.
No, it's because they finally can hop behind someone. I'm telling you, it's because Ant is more of a prototypical basketball player. He's a wing
like I
guard.
said.
He jumps. He hits threes. He has a crossover. He's African American. He's something that's more digestible than a fat Serbian who just can't jump and dogs and just absolutely dominant because you can't wrap your head around it.
Humble.
No, I'm saying
And incredibly humble.
Ant's
humble too. Ant's humble. I'm not gonna do that to him.
he talks his mess.
He talks his mess, but he's humble though. He's a good dude. I like Ant.
He's
I really do. I have no. If I actually outside of Tim Conley and Mike Conley, I don't, and Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. Outside of those 4, I like Minnesota Timberwolves. I'd be happy for Alex Rodriguez.
I'm kind of sick of Nas Reed hitting all them threes. I'm not gonna.
But I don't dislike Nas Reed. I would love Nas Reed to be a
I'm
Nugget.
sorry not to like Nas Reed, bro. We need to guard that man. Somebody got to put a hand in his face, or I would not be a fan of this guy no more.
Well, I say we can move on to our
2 minutes remaining.
because
2
I think
minutes
we're
remaining.
going to win tomorrow. So
And
Also, there's too many Knicks fans that listen to us. The Knicks are up 2-0. They're dogging. They're doing exactly what they need to be doing.
We have some Knicks listeners. We actually got
do.
some listeners.
We
Well,
do.
They're like one of our biggest audience. That's crazy.
this person who put all those
Real recognizes real.
people who put all those Villanovas together, teammates, they're onto something.
Chris, did you listen to
Their
Michael?
GM doesn't read Cat in the Hat before he goes to bed.
Chris, did you watch Michael Porter with Full Send?
Yes, of course it did.
Yeah, he was talking about how he said the NBA is interesting like that, where the best players aren't, the people with the most skill don't always make a roster. It's sometimes about having the right fit, right? And he's talking about, thank God he found a fit in Denver and all that. But I see the same thing with the Knicks. It's like, yeah, it's Brunson. I mean, Brunson is for sure, but like Josh Hart, he's a great basketball player. DiVincenzo's
Best guard rebounder in the world.
Great role players, but when you bring those 3 together, them dudes is hoopers, bro. They understand each other.
And then Obanobi is just like the most like glove dude ever, bro. I really like OG because he doesn't do anything. It's like it's very much so. I think that's why New York is rallied around them, is because they are such a like a New York New York is a glitz and a glamour, but they really love the raw and gritty. They really do. There's something about it that resonates with them. It's the Pat Riley teams that maybe like really set that archetype.
They love their lunch.
They love their lunch pail people. And you have Josh Hart who will go out there and get 15 to 20 rebounds a night at the 2 guard position. What? Like he jumps into the crowd. He goes crazy for just to get rebounds. You have DiVincenzo, who was just a glorified role player for the last couple of years, aside from what he did in college. He just found his way, and now he's a pivotal piece. And then you have Jalen Brunson, who even Knicks fans, and the loudest one in the room was
Chris. Apologize, Becky, saying that man can't hoop like that.
I was about to. Funny enough, I was about to call a receipt for SA, Mr. Stephen A. Smith. This man was like, "Oh, we did all this for Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Brunson's putting up stuff that haven't been seen since Bernard King, matching Jordan for most consecutive 40-point games in the playoffs." So, it like you said, it doesn't matter talent. Sometimes it's about fit. And then you got Tom Thibodeau. It is just like it is what they got going in New York.
It's working.
I'm happy it's working.
Yep.
Yeah, it's working.
And
we should have waited before we got 2 minutes remaining, because now we're in the 4-minute remaining. But last year there was this argument on the internet about who's the best rebounding guard, and a lot of people saying Josh Hart. I agree with that now. He might really.
No, he's the best one in the world.
That man gets a lot of rebounds.
Bro, he's phenomenal.
That's
honestly phenomenal.
Point. And I'm not hate. I love you, Becky Hammond. I know I don't know. I didn't want to make it sound.
No, she's a CSU grad.
I do love Becky Hammond. It was just she was coming as someone that's a guard. She was coming at Jalen Brunson a little tough. Anyways, 2 minutes remaining today. Nuggets are down 0-2. There's no secret, but there's been teams that have come back down 0-2. So I kind of want to do around the horn. Christoph, I'll start with you. Of the best 0-2 comebacks.
It is Mother's Day weekend, upcoming, so I'm gonna let Jays
Mm.
start.
All I'm gonna say is not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. The Cavaliers down 2-0 in the 2016 NBA Finals, and guess who won it?
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
And the Cleveland Cavaliers.
LeBron James.
You.
Cleveland, this is for you. That's the one.
Hey, Cleveland. LeBron, pull up to Denver. We need you.
Or send Bronny, and then you
Well,
come.
hey,
with him.
I'm down for the Nuggets picking Bronny with the 60th pick or 55th or whatever.
41st.
30, yeah. What's that? 30th pick in the draft. I'm cool with picking Bronny. Let's make it happen. My Christoph, you want me to go? Or you want me to go? Are you want to go? All right, I'll
Go for it.
Mine is definitely, I'm gonna say the Bucks, because to your point, Christoph, earlier, I was rooting on the Suns' downfall in 2021, and it really did look like the Suns. You know why though? Because I hated the fact that they celebrated winning the Western Conference like they won the NBA championship. That really made me mad. Like when they were driving around the city with the Western Conference championship, having fans touch it. Seeing how a real championship is won in Denver and being out there when AG and all those people are out there lighting fireworks, y'all try to cheat the process. That doesn't come without really winning it. And I didn't like how they did that. So Giannis put on one of the craziest, I think of all NBA Finals performances I've seen throughout my life, the three that really stick out is Giannis's when he did what he did in that series. We had like 50 points back-to-back games, hit all of his free throws when people were making fun of him. Jay's yours with LeBron. That was one of the greatest NBA Finals performances.
Yep.
And then D Wade, obviously, when he beat the Dallas Mavericks. Just what he did in that series. Those are probably my 3 all-time favorite NBA Finals moments when it comes to
You meant to say that because all 3 of them came back from 0-2.
Oh, really? See?
Yeah.
That's what happens when you come back from 0-2. You get remembered.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned all NBA Finals ones. I have a little piece of Nuggets history, and I have a little piece of something I know that you will like, Jays.
Okay.
So I'll start with you. 33 teams have come back from 0-2.
How many?
33.
Okay.
Here's the negative side of that. That's 7.3% of teams that have gone down.
Yeah.
So less than 10% of the time.
Yeah.
It's so we're truly in rarefied air here, Nuggets fans. However, probably until last season, one of the best playoff memories for many a Nugget fan was when
in the bubble.
I was gonna say, but the Dikembe Mutombo with the ball.
Oh yeah, that one too.
When we were the first 8 seed to beat a 1, they were down 0-2, and they came back. It was a best of 5 series, but they did win that one.
Yes, they did.
They did. But that I wouldn't say that's my favorite. And since you guys both went NBA Finals ones, I don't know. There's so many. I could just start reeling off some of the ones I'm looking at. I'll look at. I'm not gonna say it's not my favorite one. Yeah, I'm not gonna say my favorite one.
Is that
I'm gonna say last year, the Warriors came back. What I'm saying is when I say the Warriors coming back against against the Kings last year in round 1, is that it happens. It happens more frequently, 37% of the time, 7.3% of the time, but it has happened in 2023, 2022, 2021, and 2019. So
I'll say this, Christoph.
Let's keep the trend going, Nuggets Nation. And the Nuggets, if they really wake up, every single listener, every single person hearing my voice, including you two, know that they're fully capable of doing it. Yeah. That's the thing. That in lies the thing. So do it. Are they gonna get swept? Are they gonna be Suns in 4? Or are they gonna be the 3-1 comeback? Because they have it both in them. And that's my conundrum as a Nuggets fan at this moment in time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've seen the Nuggets do crazier things. I've seen them do crazier things. I think they'll be able to do it, but like I said, they gotta want to do it.
I said what I said.
Yeah, I said what I said what I said. Carry on. With that being said, this is the Just Nuggets podcast. My name is K. Kali, your podcast's favorite point guard. Thank you again, Christoph Yalich, for another great episode. As Christoph said, happy Mother's Day weekend.
Thank
to
you.
Double J.
You know what I want for Mother's Day? A Nuggets win.
Let's go.
2 of them.
All right, let's go Nuggets.